Once upon a time, in 2024, there was an undecided voter who didn't know who to choose in the presidential election. She did her research, but couldn't decide who she should vote for. Everyone knew her and couldn't understand why she hadn't made up her mind like everyone else. With all that attention, I guess you could say she was the belle of the ball. With the upcoming election, Belle, the coveted swing voter, quickly found herself being courted by the two major candidates. First was Gaston. He was full of himself, immature, and a sore loser, and he had no respect for women. He desired Belle's vote because he wanted to move back to the White House that he felt was rightfully his. At the White House lived the forever cursed candidate simply known as the Least. The Least was rude, accusatory, and radicalized. The Least didn't want to leave the White House and also wanted the vote of Belle to keep it for herself.
Come into the light.
Gaston and the Least were always at each other's throats, but one thing they agreed upon was their desire to run the White House and their hatred of Joe Biden. As a matter of fact, the Least got her name by losing the primary election to Biden in 2020. She got the least amount of votes.
That crazy old moon, he needs all the help he can get.
Gaston tried all summer to get rid of Biden by gaslighting him into thinking he was a crazy old man, but failed.
You're not welcome here.
I'm staying in the race.
Give you a place to stay.
The Least and the rest of the Democrats were able to do it, though, by intimidating Joe into handing over the White House keys to the Least. Despite the absolute unlikability of the two candidates, they still both had their bases. Gaston surrounded himself with yokels and townies, while the Least was mostly supported by, tools. Gaston would try to rile up his base by fear-mongering about undocumented immigrants. He denied climate change no matter how much evidence you provided him, and he made no effort to enforce any form of gun control as long as the NRA kept bringing him sacks of money.
They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in.
He'd say anything to scare citizens into voting for him.
They're eating the dogs.
Ignoring all the red flags, his happily blind bass sang his praises. No one cries like Gaston, no one lies like Gaston, no one serves up those super-sized fries like Gaston. The Least said that when she was president that everything would change for the better. Despite the fact that she had been in the White House for the last 4 years, she promised a transformation. Ta-da! The Least didn't even like to discuss the past 4 years. Don't tell her you can't afford groceries because of inflation.
Go ahead and starve!
The Least was also obsessed with the LGBTQ community. She wanted to support gay rights and advocated for everyone to support gay pride. She really needed this community's vote, so if you were in the closet, she wanted you out.
Come out or I'll break down the door!
The Least had trouble getting support outside of her base and had very little time to convince Belle and the rest of the swing voters to love her. Meanwhile, Gaston and his MAGA supporters were marching up to the White House in a desperate attempt to reclaim it on Election Day, as the two sides prepare to wage war in the voting booth. Will Gaston win? Will the Least win? That we won't know until November 5th. The only thing I can tell you is that the loser will be us. Thanks for watching.